Coach, how you feel the offseason went so far?
Really good, man. Really good. I'm really excited about the team. I thought the offseason was good. Uh, I really did. I thought Joe had a really good offseason acquisitions that we made and the moves that he made. Obviously, some of our better players, from last season's team, are no longer on the team, but I think both in really good positions, and I like where we're at. So I thought it was a good offseason, man.
Chauncey, your defense improved last year. You've got Drew coming in. How much of an impact will he have on this? And is your defense almost your identity rather than your offense now?
I don't think our offense has ever, at least since I've been here, been good enough to say that was our identity. I think I've said in front of you guys for years now, telling y'all that I believe in if we're going to be any good, we need to be defense first team. Last year, the best thing that came out of the season for me is that we finally established that. In the second half of the season, we finally established our identity, and we'll look to get better with that. You bring in a guy like Drew Holiday, who's been one of the best defenders, really in this generation. And what he's able to do, how he's able to play, it just makes those things even better. So I'm really excited about where we are and what we're going to be able to do, in particular on the defensive end. The one area on the defensive end that we were really poor at is our defensive rebounding. That's going to be something that we have to be much better at. We'll focus on that right away, because we play such great defense, and then boom, the shot goes up, and then we don't get the ball. I mean, you got to play another 14 seconds of defense. It just wears you down. So we'll look to try to close out those defensive possessions, hopefully with a rebound.
On that note, just how would you describe the strengths of the defense that you guys bring?
The strengths of our defense. I think our physicality is one. Our pressure is going to be another one. And obviously, when you have Klingon at the rim, he's going to deter a lot of people. He's going to block a lot of shots. Also Robert Williams there, also Hansen. So, we want to be very disruptive defensively the entire time. And then if they do get by us, and when they do get by us, they have to deal with those guys. So I love, what we should be able to do on that end of the floor.
Chauncey, you added Splitter to your staff, and from what I saw and what I've heard, his game in Paris was an awful lot like what you want to do here. Can you talk about what he might bring to your staff?
Yeah, good question. Good question, Dwight. I added Tiago Splitter to our staff. I studied him for a while. He did a really good job. I went over there to go see him, watch him kind of operate, watch his practice, watch his games. And I really do believe that, I just talked about, I thought us establishing our defensive identity last year was the biggest part of the season. I think this year we have to start establishing who we're going to be offensively. And a couple of my hires reflect that. Tiago and Patrick St. Andrews, who was in Memphis last year, and who was under Taylor Jenkins the last few years. What I want to do with our offense, those two guys have done it. So Tiago was great. His offense was really potent over there in Paris, and they played really fast. They got up and down. They tried to play before defenses got set. He had a really good point guard that kind of was the MVP of the league, obviously. So he done a really good job, And so I'm really excited about that and about our staff, and we've worked really hard to try to put together what I think our offensive system is going to be.
Coach, do you feel like this group is ready to take the step towards winning right now while still developing some of the younger guys? And based on what you see so far, do you think the young players themselves are ready for that?
Well, I think we had so much fun in the second half of last season trying to chase it, trying to get to that play-in. Our guys took so much pride in it, and they remember that. They remember that. And so now we get to start, 0-0 with everybody and try to just pick that up again. You know, I think our young guys are really hungry. I really do. And they felt a little bit of what winning feels like last season, and it's fueled their off-season workouts, their commitment and dedication. I mean, it's been a really good summer. It really has been a really good summer. So I do, you know, I do. I know we're young. I know we're still trying, you know, developing and things like that. But I just think, you know, when you're very disruptive off defensively, and you try to play faster offensively, and you move the ball, and you can play before defenses get set, you never know what can happen, you know. And that's kind of how I feel. Like, I just want our young guys to take a few steps, continue to get better, and then just let the chips fall where they may.
Chauncey, you said when Dane came back that he was going to be the world's highest paid assistant coach. Do you have any kind of specific ways that you're going to be using him and leaning on him this season while he's not able to play?
Well, I haven't given him his role and responsibility like the rest of my coaches yet. But more than anything, just him keeping a really, really close eye on Shaden, on Scoot, on Denny. You know, those guys will be a lot of the playmakers on our team this year, and just really just kind of just digging in and pouring in, you know, where he can help those guys. You know, he's not a coach. He's a player, and he's a great player still. And there's a different level of, you know, connectivity that comes with that, you know. And everybody loves Dame, and he's very sensitive to not overstep. And we all know Dame, you know. And I told him that's not even possible because we see the game, we see this thing the same way. So he'll. You know, it's funny because when I was talking to him, he was just like, man, I don't want to come in and I don't want to be talking and doing all of the things. And I'm saying, Dame, you're Dame. You're okay. You're okay, bro. Like, just be you. Just be who you always are. They're going to be looking for that direction. And so he'll find his way, you know, as he's trying to get himself back healthy.
Chauncey, in light of the Scoot situation, just what was your reaction to his injury, and what direction do you turn, you know, without him?
Yeah. I just feel so bad for Scoot, man. Scoot was having an incredible summer. He really was. Certain things that we wanted to work on this summer, he's worked on them all. I couldn't wait for everybody to kind of see him. So I feel really, really poor for Scoot right now, but it's just another speed bump for him, and he's had a few, you know, and he's really tough mentally, and he will get back and he'll be strong. But man, I do, man, my heart really hurt, you know, for Scoot when he went down that day, and then to see what it's going to be. So it's tough for us, you know, going forward. I mean, obviously having Drew and having signed Blake Wesley, and you know, Denny's playmaking and ball handling, Shea as well, Caleb Love. I mean, we'll be okay, but you know, the speed and aggressiveness and downhill and getting to the paint touches and things like that, we will miss that. You know, he's one of the best, and finally playing to his real superpower, you know, was it. So I just feel bad for Scoot.
Chauncey,
You guys did such a good job in establishing your identity as defense, and Roy Rogers was the head of that, yet he's not back. Why isn't he back, and who is heading the defense now?
Well, Nate is doing the defense. You know, I had Nate last year, and Roy did. Roy did a really good job for us, and Roy's a really good coach. And, you know, it's funny, I go through this thing, and, you know, it's tough to say this without people taking it crazy, but, you know, you get to a point in the rebuild where, you know, I said this along both sides of the ball. You know, we're pretty much doing arithmetic. We're doing it pretty good. And then you start to get to a point where I know I've gotten a ton better, you know, and I see this thing differently. I know what I need more of, but we need to start doing a little algebra. And so you got to bring in some algebra teachers. And that's no slight to nobody. It just kind of is what it is, and it's a part of me getting better. It's a part of me challenging our guys more, and it's just kind of that's it, you know. But Roy's a really good coach. Roy, Coach Fleming, you know, all of those dudes, they're really good coaches. It was just time for me to do something different.
Back in July, you described how this year could be really important for Dame in terms of learning how to play with these guys by watching. What are the specific ways that you think that he will need to adjust to fit a year from now when he is back and healthy?
Well, one, you know, Dame for his entire time here, I mean, he's just such a great player. You just kind of played through him every play, and God bless you, played through him every play, and you know, you had to. He's just that gifted. I think Dame knows this, and we all know this. He's going to need these guys to help him out, you know, and we're going to play faster. We're going to be moving and cutting in the half court, you know. So it's almost good that Dame's going to be able to watch that and see that all season long, you know, where he does fit in. Now, obviously, he is Dame, you know, so, and he's very focused on getting back to being who he is, you know, and we'll all benefit from that. But we're going to play. We'll play a lot different than we played before Dame left here.
Yeah, Chauncey, without Anthony, with Scoop being out at the start of the season, how much does that impede your goal of playing faster?
Yeah, that's a great question. That really is. I don't think that much. Because we're just going to have so many different guys kind of bringing the ball up the floor. It's not just one guy a lot of times. And even like with a guy like Drew, you know, you playing fast is not just blazing the ball up the floor on the dribble. You know, a lot of times it's kick aheads. A lot of times it's where you catch the outlet. You know, just things like that. So it impacts it for sure, not having Scoot around. But we'll still play faster. You know, we just have to. You know, there's no reason to be young and athletic and versatile and play slow. There's just no reason to do it.
There's a lot of
Will there be more
discourse.
grab and go? Like whoever
yeah.
gets the rebound, just
Yeah, we have that's the good thing about being versatile, you know, and having so many guys be able to kind of dribble up the floor and initiate the offense, and that's why our defensive rebound is such a big deal. You know, it really is, and whoever gets it, let's just get out and go and just kind of play. So we were so bad at it last year, and we were always just looking for Ant or that one guy, and we just have to be different.
There was a lot of discourse this summer on who the starters would be on this team. Obviously, Scoot will be back at some point, but it seems like there's kind of 7 guys for those 5 spots. So just what is your philosophy on what the starting lineup could look like coming into training camp?
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways you could go, you know. I say this to y'all, and I say this to our guys. I'm not really the one that's deciding that. I'm really not. I'm just going to be the messenger in it, and they got to go earn it. You know, whoever earns it, whoever plays the best as a unit are going to be the starters, you know, to me. We do have, I'm really happy to even have this discussion, you know, to have the talent, to have the depth. This is new for me, you know, so I'm really excited about that. But at the end of the day, I'm a fair coach, you know, and I think that they all need to go and earn it. Like, we don't have like an all-star on this team or a top 75 guy that a Dame is not playing. You know, Drew probably will be a Hall of Famer, you know, at some point. But we don't have that 1-2 guys. So to me, like, everybody just got to go earn it. And I've always been about that. I believe that's the best way to be. And so I'm really not making that decision, to be honest. These guys are.
Chauncey, you kind of alluded to the coaching changes. And defensively, you have this identity in being disruptive and wanting to protect the paint. But offensively, you're bringing in new coaches.
Yeah.
What do you expect your offensive identity to be? You guys have wanted to get out and run, but transition, you've lacked of efficiency. The shot location stuff changed a ton for you last year. You almost eliminated all the mid-range shots. Like, what do you kind of envision the identity of the offense being, and how different will that be compared to other teams you've had?
I think it'll be a ton different. I expect for us, again, you know, to play faster, moving the ball up the floor. And not only that, you know, even in the half court, some of the cutting patterns and things like that will be totally different. You know, not as much standing around, if you will, or just run the pick and roll and the other 3 guys just kind of standing and watching the entire time. We'll get away from those things. We'll be better about that, you know, and just not being as predictable, I guess, if you will. And we have so many guys, You know, our best times, our best games last year, we had so many guys contributing, and 6 guys, 7 guys in double figures, and everybody just kind of sharing the basketball, sharing it. I want to be like that most nights. You know, I want to be playing that way. I think those are the most difficult teams to play against, where everybody's kind of live, everybody is involved, and everybody's in the action. You know, everybody feels, you know, valued out there. So that's what we want to try to do.
View your center rotation. How does Hansen fit into that?
Yeah, I mean, he's right there in the mix. Obviously, DC, Rob, Hansen, DC, Hansen, Rob, Wap. I mean, we have 4 of them, and it just kind of depends on how they're all playing. You know, if Rob is healthy, you know, obviously he's not really ready to go right now. I think Hansen's did a really good job, you know, these last couple months of just trying to get situated, you know, trying to understand what we're doing. He's definitely gonna play.